All right, what is going on there, you absolute giga chads? Welcome back to episode 10 of our road to a 600 bench press. Forgot to film an intro today, so we are getting straight into it. This is the first week of the strength block, so first top single. I guess I did one last week, but the first on-plan top single of the training cycle at 475 pounds. My main focuses for the day was to throw this through the ceiling and execute well. Load into my triceps on the negative, not internally rotate my shoulder at the bottom, draw my chest up towards the bar, because this is going to move visually quick, basically no matter what. It's only 83% of what I am going for the training cycle, not the heaviest weight. So it's not a matter of moving it just fast. It's a matter of moving it in the way that I know is going to scale to a higher percentage. So here we get to the top set. Starting to bring a little bit more adrenaline to my top sets just to train that ability of getting fired up on command. That way I'm not completely lost when it starts getting truly, truly heavy, and I need to start bringing some adrenaline to maybe get a little bit more out of my nervous system. I start practicing right when I start the strength phase. The hype's pretty low all the way through the hypertrophy phase, where I'm just plugging in straight sets and volume. A lot of that's just having fun, eating food, feeling good. Then we start getting a little bit more intense here. So this went pretty well. I'm going to do a little recap at the end here. I'll kind of talk about what my big focuses were for the day. Then I dropped the weight back to 435 pounds, so about 77% of target weight for the training cycle. And I did 2 back off sets. Not a ton of work here, and that's because I have 1 day rest, and then I turn around and I'm pressing heavy again for my secondary bench day. So the amount of work per session, you're going to notice, is not all that high, with only 3 working sets of the bench press done here. I had an optional 4th set, but I elected to stay a little bit fresher for that second bench day. That was the call I ended up making. Pretty happy with this. 5, then 6 reps on these back offs. Feeling pretty good. Really good start to the strength phase. Moved on to these dead stop tricep thingies I'm doing off the floor. I just like them, nothing magical about them. I'll probably rotate them when I start to feel these get really stale. I actually ordered an easy curl bar the other day off Amazon for these, just to take a little bit of stress off my wrist. So that should get here, I think, Thursday. So next week, you'll probably see me doing these with a different bar, but these are staying in as my primary tricep exercise on this day until the end of the training cycle. Been pushing them, been seeing good progression in my strength metrics. And then after I did these sets of tricep extensions, I did a little bit of biceps, and I did shrugs with no straps as auxiliary back work, but more so than anything, just a means of training my grip. That way I count reps instead of time, because I find that more enjoyable. But those are primarily in there as a direct grip exercise. So I know as my heaviest set of 10 and 8 and 20 goes up on those no strap shrugs, that's kind of my proxy to let me know where my grip is at. I think once I'm doing like a bunch of sets of 10 to 12 with 405, I'll be back towards a normal grip strength, and then anything more than that will be a pretty good spot for me. All right, what's going on, fellas? Just wrapped up the workout. Going to do a quick recap because we did not do an intro for this video. Start to finish, felt a little bit under-recovered. Wasn't able to push as much food on my rest day yesterday as I would have liked, and I definitely felt that. Been working really hard to improve my sleep because we all know sleep is relatively important. You've heard me bitch about it plenty on the channel. It doesn't come easy to me, but that means if I can get better at it, I'm sure it would give me big returns. So standard sleep schedule stuff, buying some, I'm going to buy some earplugs. I've got a sleep mask, keep the room cold. I've got a fan, keep the room dark, yada, yada, yada. Various sleep supplements in the hopes that those help, and they've definitely helped a little bit. But I'm really, really trying to make sure that I build from the base up, and the base is trying to get my sleep quality better, because my nutrition has gotten to the point where even my bad days are pretty locked in, because that's always been the most important variable for me. Now it's kind of time to turn and look at the sleep, right? Because a lot of people will say, oh, your strength follows your mind. And you're like, well, that's not true. No matter where my mind is at, I still can't bench press 315 no matter how psyched up I get. And it's not a short-term thing. It's not, oh, if you believe you can bench press 315. If you didn't do the preparation for 315, you probably can't do 315. But in the long term, I see the point there is the person that stays focused on the goal. They're always looking forward to their next workout. They're always looking for little ways to get better. In the training cycle or two, those are going to be the people that hit 315. It was the mind that led to the actions that led to, so the mind is the base and sleep is the recovery of the mind, right? To keep your mindset as dialed and ready to push forward, focused and present on making the most of each session as you can. You kind of need the sleep to, rinse your brain of all of those like neuro byproducts that build up and they only are dispensed while you sleep, blah, blah, blah. So that's something I really need to start taking seriously, and that's been a big project recently. And it's been playing good returns. I also am trying to do more mindfulness practices to be more in the moment, so that way I can kind of gather myself and just ask the question, what do I need to do in this moment to get better? What do I need to do in this moment to get towards my goals? Rather than kind of getting lost in the flow of the day and being on autopilot, just constantly drawing back to the moment and making sure I'm doing everything I can to move towards this 600 bench press. Start to finish, sleep wasn't as good as I would like. It's been a big focus, but I think that might have given me a little bit of sleep anxiety. Didn't sleep as well as I would like last night, so I ended up just getting up at 4 a.m. and eating my first meal because I figured if I'm not going to be sleeping, I may as well be eating. Went back to bed, got a little bit of sleep, got up, ate meal 2. All my meals today locked in, hydration locked in because I knew this was going to be my first session of the strength phase. Took it real serious, came in pretty prepared, carrying a little bit more fatigue than I would have liked. If I had been able to push my calories a little bit more yesterday and then got a little bit more sleep, I would have felt a little fresher today. The nice part is my body warmed up fast as hell. This morning, while I was going through my work day, I was just doing little things that I felt, okay, I'm going to do one little thing to make me more ready for bench pressing. I'm going to stretch out my hip flexors. Then I would do some work, and then I would do some housework, and then I would roll out my T-spine. Then I would do some work. Then I would do some housework. Then I would sip some water, get some salt. Everything, all these little things that would prepare me. And because of all those little things I did through the day to get my body moving for what I was going to do today, I warmed up fast as hell. It was really nice. I just walked on the treadmill, did some arm swings, did some hip swings, and just started moving up. And I didn't even have to I did the bar for 8, did 95 for 5, and I was just taking singles the rest of the way up because while I was a little fatigued, benching often, my body gets really warm to bench really quick. Felt really good through the warm-ups. Definitely had some technical focuses that I really wanted to work on today because I knew 475 was going to look quick. I benched 475 for the first time, 50 pounds of body weight ago, years ago. I've done it more times than I can count now. So it's not can I get this done? It's how do I get it done? So some big focuses. We're slowing down my negative a little bit, really deliberately loading into the tricep. And then I'll give you guys a little demonstration here. The big thing I really wanted to do was not dump the bar. So when we're talking about dumping the bar, a couple things we're looking at doing. Sometimes it's head peeling off the bench. Probably try to avoid that. Sometimes that's letting your sternum, as that bar approaches you, your sternum runs away from it. And then we go down, and then we go into this shitty internally rotated position of the shoulder, where our shoulders go like this, we pause, we scoop, and we press. I would much rather see someone take a little bit more deliberate of a negative, draw the sternum up to meet the bar halfway as it comes down. Their back gets tighter as that bar approaches them. They pause and they drive. Rather than kind of loading into that shitty shoulder-dominant pressing pattern. I think there are some good benchers that do that, but the vast majority of people should not be seeing any internal rotation and dump at the bottom of their bench press. And that was something I was really focused on today, was the slow negative, getting up on my traps, scapular depression, getting tighter as that bar approaches me, meeting it halfway, really trying to load into the triceps, load, explode through the press, throw it up at the ceiling. I felt I did a pretty good job. The negative felt a little bit funky. I've got some work to do there with how I'm initiating the negative. I probably could follow through with my leg drive a little bit more, but the top single moved about how it should. Technique was not bad. Back offs went pretty good. Given the fatigue I'm carrying right now, 5 and then 6, nothing to write home about, but it was about kind of what I expected for the day. Opted out of my third back off set because I got to turn around pretty quick. Got to push a little bit of extra food. I'm sure I'll be ready, especially if my sleep is better. I'll be very prepared, I think. Beep, boop, bop, boop. Then I moved on to triceps. Really excited to get the easy curl bar. Just logging in work, trying to see rep PR, volume PR. see progression across those, because those are just the exercise I picked for my extra tricep extension volume for this training cycle. So all I'm looking to see is to get better each week all the way through the 10-week training cycle, and then I'll kind of make the call whether I repeat this exercise for next training cycle or I rotate it based on whether I feel like my triceps are still getting good work from it. Then I did my overhand shrugs for grip. That went good, better than last week. That's all I can ask. Grip is coming back pretty quickly, which is to be expected. Grip seems to be very neural. There's guys with huge forearms and kind of questionable grip, and there's some guys with not so big forearms and phenomenal grip. It seems to be a byproduct of like having a bigger hand, big part of it. I got tiny little baby hands. Having skinny fingers for more surface area seems to be a part of it. Guys who are on the untested side of strongman and the untested side of powerlifting will often like push meet day drugs that often come alongside a lot of water retention, and their grip goes to shit because their hands are swollen. It's just a common phenomenon. Not endorsing the use of PEDs, just letting you guys know why some guys will see a pretty consistent grip through their training and suddenly on meet day it goes to shit. Sometimes it's water retention in the hands, but thankfully my grip's always been pretty good, whatever that neural component is, because you got the hand size and you just have this kind of neural thing going on. Like hypertrophy is definitely part of it, but my grip's always been pretty good for a guy with small hands, so I'm going to keep it that way. I don't want to be the guy that habitually you can predict is going to lose points on a grip event. Then I finished up with some biceps because I'm trying to get 20-inch arms before Paris does, because that would be very embarrassing if he beat me.